Hello guys, you're welcome back again to this YouTube channel, and if this is your first time here, you're highly welcome. Please do well to hit the subscribe button and also click on the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I drop a new video. So in this video we will be drafting a basic shirt pattern. Yes, so it is from this basic shirt pattern that you can derive any other type of shirt that you can alterate to any other type of shirts that you want to achieve. So we'll be drafting the basic shirt pattern, and we'll also be cutting and also doing some run-up sewing on it. So if this is what you're interested in, do well and keep watching. So I'll be making use of a pattern paper, and if you don't have a pattern paper, you can make use of your cardboard paper or your newspaper. I will also be making use of the tape rule. So there are various methods used to draft a shirt, and there are different types of shirt. Some shirt has this let down at the front shoulder, some with a yoke at the back, some the back is longer than the front, and some the shirts are quite big, some the shirts are free. So before now, I have done a very detailed tutorial on how to achieve a shirt pattern with a let down at the front shoulder, and that video came with a sewing video as well, and that video is also on my YouTube channel. I'll drop the link on the description box in case you want to also see how that was done. So in this very particular video, we'll be drafting a basic shirt pattern. So it is from this shirt pattern that you can easily alterate to get any other types of shirts that you want to achieve depending on the look you're going for. So same way you can achieve any style from your basic bodice pattern, same thing applies to this basic shirt pattern. And like I earlier said, with this basic shirt pattern, you can alter it to achieve any type of button down shirt that you want, any type of shirt that you want to achieve at all. With this basic shirt pattern, you can do that. So right now we'll dive right into the drafting video without further talking all of that. So make sure you practice, because you know what, practice makes perfect. So I'll be drafting out the front pattern first, and the first step you would want to take is to come down by 1 inch from the beginning of your paper to mark out the starting line or the top line. So I'll go ahead and mark it out like this, 1 inch from the beginning of your paper, and then I'll bring in my rule to connect these dots to get a straight line like this. Now that I have the straight line, normally the front of a shirt pattern has a button. Yeah, so it has a button, and that space where the button is called the button placket. So we have to create a space for that button placket, and to do that you would need to come in by 2 inches or 2.5 inches, whichever you want to use is okay. So for me, I'll be using 2.5 inches. So from the center front here, you go ahead and mark in 2.5 inches. So this space will be what will be used for the button placket. This is where the button hole and the button stand is going to be on the shirt. So I'll go ahead and bring in my rule and connect the dots to get a straight line like this. So now that I've drawn the button placket line, take note that this line is now the new center front. This line is the center front. So whatever measurement I'm marking out will be starting from the line, right? So right now, go ahead and divide the shoulder measurement by 2 and mark it out. So the shoulder measurement I'm working with is 16 divided by 2 gives me 8. So you can see the 8 is starting from this line, which is the new center front. Next is to get the armhole depth. So to get your armhole depth, divide the round bust measurement that you're working with by 6 plus 1.5. So the round bust measurement I'm working with is 41 divided by 6 plus 1.5 gives me 8.3, and that is what I've marked here. So shirts are usually free around the armhole. They are not fitted like dresses. So for that, you'll be adding half an inch ease to the armhole depth you marked out, and after marking that out, I'll go ahead and mark out the shoulder measurement on this point to make sure that I get a straight line when connecting this back to the shoulder. Now I'll go ahead and bring in my rule and connect the armhole depth back to the shoulder like this. Next is to mark out the neckline, and I'll be working with the specific neckline for this individual. So to get the neckline for the individual you're working with, divide the round bust measurement by 12, and whatever you get, you mark it as your neck width and your neck depth. You can also make use of the regular 3x3 for the neck width and neck depth, but for me, I just want to follow the guideline. I just want to work with the specific neckline for this individual. So what I have is 3.4, that is after dividing 41 by 12, I had 3.4, and that is what I marked out for the neck width and also for the neck depth here. And so after marking it out, I'll go ahead and place my rule, use this curved part of my rule, and connect the neck width, which is this point, the neck width, to the neck depth here to get the normal regular neckline for this individual. Next is to come down by 1 inch from the shoulder here to get that shoulder slant or slope. So after coming down by 1 inch, I'll connect this to the neck width using my rule like this. So you know how our shoulders are not straight, they're quite slanted. So that's what we just did here. Next is to divide the round bust measurement by 4 and mark it out. So obviously the round bust measurement I'm working with is 41 divided by 4 gives me 10.25, and that is what I am marking out here. So after marking it out, I'll bring in my rule to connect this straight down to get a straight line like this. And take note that this line is referred to as the chest line. So now it's up to you to decide if you want some form of ease around the bust area or not. If you want some form of ease, you can just add half an inch. If you don't want some form of ease, you can just leave it like that. But for me, I want some form of ease around the bust area so that the bust area will be a little bit free for me. So I'll go ahead and add the half an inch here, and then I'll connect the half an inch back to the chest line. So take note of the original bust measurement you marked out earlier. Take note of that, because that's what you'll be using for the armhole curve. So to get the armhole curve, get the midpoint from this point to this point, that is the middle. So whatever you get, you can either divide it by 2 or fold your tape over like this and mark out the midpoint, and from the midpoint go in by 0.75. So right now you connect the shoulder to this 0.75 to the original bust measurement to get the armhole curve. So you connect these 3 points together like this. So now that we have this, the next step is to go ahead and mark out your waist measurement. Now take note that for shirt there's nothing like front or back waist length, so we'll be using the front waist length as the waist line. So the front waist length I am working with is 17.5 inches, and that will be the waistline for both the front and the back, and that is what I am marking out. So always take note of the way the tape is being placed. So I'll go ahead and just rule these dots together, connect the dots together to get a straight line. So next is to mark out the shirt length. So make sure you measure how long you want your shirt to be, where you want your shirt to stop on your body, or measure it on your client's body where you want the shirt to stop. So for this, I am working with 25 inches as the shirt length. It can be longer than 25 inches depending on what you want. It's your choice, it's your decision to make how long you want the shirt to be. So 25 inches is what I am working with, is what I have marked out. So I'll be connecting the dot. As you can see, let me just show you, because I think the video didn't capture that. So you can see this is 25 inches. So this is the length I'm working with for this shirt. This is what I want for this shirt, the length I want for this shirt. So go ahead and decide the length you want for your shirt and also mark it out. So I've connected the dots together to get a straight line like this, as you can see. So this line is for the shirt length, this line is the waist line, and this line is the chest line, like I earlier stated. So now we'll go ahead and divide the hip measurement by 4 and mark it out on this shirt length. So the hip measurement I'm working with is 43 inches. So 43 divided by 4 gives me 10.75, and that is what I will mark out on the shirt line like this. Now after doing this, I'll go ahead and connect this shirt line straight down to the half an inch here. Yes, take note of that. Straight down to that half an inch ease that I added to the bust area. Now, at this point, if you want your shirt to have some form of curved around the waist, go in by half an inch on the waist here. But if you want your shirt to just be straight, you don't want any form of curve on the shirt, then leave it like this. But for me, I want some form of curve on this shirt, so I'll go in by half an inch on the waistline here, as you can see. Then I'll connect this back to the ease around the bust and also to the shirt length like this. So if you want your shirt to have that little bit of curve, you go in by half an inch on the waistline. But if you do not want curve, just leave it straight the way it was. If you also want a curve at the hem of your shirt, you go up by 1.5 inch from the shirt length. Yeah, and you curve this back to the shirt length. But if you don't want that curve that is usually on some shirts, you just want it to have that, straight hem. You don't want any of those curve around the hem, then don't do this. But this is for people who want that curve on the hem of the shirt at the side. So right now the front pattern is ready, and I'll be drafting the back pattern on this front pattern as well, because there's really no much difference between the front and the back pattern for a shirt, except for the neckline and the armhole. But if you're going to alter this pattern to get the type of shirt you want, then you should draft the back on another pattern paper. So since I'm going for the basic button down shirt look, I will just draft out the back here too on this front pattern. So to do that, I'll just need to, draw the back neckline and then the back armhole, and that's all. So for the back neckline, you just come down by 1 inch, because that is the standard regular neckline for all individual for their back pattern. So 1 inch is the standard. So come down by 1 inch and connect this back to the neck width like this. Now for the armhole, go ahead and come in by half an inch from the midpoint, half an inch, that is 0.5 inch, and connect this back to the shoulder and also to the round bust measurement. So I'll bring in my curve and go ahead and do that. So it is this basic shirt pattern that you alter to create any type of shirt that you want to create. Yeah. And just make sure that if you want to alter this basic pattern to create the type of shirt you want, make sure you draft both the front and the back separately. Right now, I'll go ahead and cut out the back pattern, because that is what I need to cut out first. So I'll go ahead and cut out the back pattern. And I'll need to fold in this button placket, because there is no button placket on the back of a shirt. Yes, on the back of a button down shirt or button up shirt, whichever. So you just go ahead and fold it like this. So you can see the way I am folding it like this. So you fold in the 2.5 inches. So this is what I need for the back pattern. And I'll go ahead and bring in my scissors and continue with the cutting. So I'll cut out the back neckline, the shoulder, and the back armhole. So for the allowances, I'll be leaving 1 inch at the hem here, 1 inch at the side for the side seam, and also half an inch at the neckline, half an inch on the shoulder, half an inch on the armhole. So I'll go ahead and fold in my fabric. So I'll be using a crepe fabric, and I got 1.5 yards of the crepe material. So you can see this material has been folded into two to cut out the back pattern, and you can see I've placed the back pattern. You can see the way I placed it, and you can see the half an inch I left here, the 1 inch on the side, and the 1 inch at the hem. So I'll go ahead and cut this out like this. So I'll go ahead and remove the pattern now, and you can see the back pattern is ready. Yeah, so make sure you indicate the wrong side. Next, I'll go ahead and cut out the front neckline like this, and I'll also go ahead and cut out the front armhole curve like so. So I'll go ahead and cut it out like so. So right now the front pattern is ready. So I'll go ahead and open this up and place it on the folded fabric. Yeah, so the fabric has to be on fold, and you can see the way I placed the front pattern on the fabric, and I've left half an inch here on the 1 inch on the side seam, 1 inch at the end. And make sure you notch the 2.5 or 2 inches, whichever you made use of for the button placket. Make sure you notch it. It's very important, because you have to know where your button placket stops at or starts from. So right now I've cut this out, and I'll go ahead and open the center front, because obviously the center front for a shirt is open and I've notched as well. So right now also indicates the wrong sides of your fabric, which I have done, and you go ahead and remove the pattern. Yeah, you go ahead and remove the pattern from it. So I'm removing the pins so I can lift up the patterns, and this is my front pattern. It is ready. So you can see we have 2 of this. So right now it's time to sew the button plackets. So to do that, you have to sew on the wrong side, and you go ahead and fold in the 2.5 inches or 2 inches, whichever you made use of, and then you fold in about 1 inch or half an inch like this and run a stitch through it. Yes, you go ahead and run a stitch through it. I hope you don't understand. If it's quite confusing, just drop a question in the comment section and I'll try as much as possible to respond to it. So that I'll go and do that and come back and show you. As you can see, I have run a stitch through it, and I'll just cut off this excess on the neckline. Yeah, this excess that came out from the button placket on the neckline like this, just cut it out. And the next step is to go ahead and aim the down of your shirt. So you left 1 inch at the hem for the allowance, so you fold in half an inch and you fold in half an inch again, and you run a stitch through it. So that is how you hem. So that is what you do to the hem of the front and the hem of the back. So you bring in the back pattern, and then you make sure that the right sides are facing each other. That is, the right side of the back pattern is facing the right side of the front pattern, and then make sure you aim the down of your back pattern as well. Please make sure you do that. Yes, it's very important. And so after making sure that both right sides are facing each other, you go ahead and close up the shoulder using the half an inch allowance that you left on the shoulders. Then go ahead and for the sides, close it up using the 1 inch allowance that you left for the side seam. So this is just a quick show of how to put your shirts together, how to sew your shirts together. Yes, so the next step after doing all of this is to go ahead and draft out the sleeve pattern and cut out the sleeve for this. So for the sleeve pattern, get a new pattern paper. Then from the starting of your pattern paper, you would want to come down by 1 inch to get that starting line or top line. So that's what I am doing right now. You come down by 1 inch like this from the beginning of the piece of pattern paper. Yeah, and then you bring in your rule and connect the dots to get a straight line like this. Next step after this is to mark out the cap height line. Now, to get the cap height line for the individual you're working with, you have to divide the round bust measurement of that individual by 12 plus 1. So the round bust measurement I worked with is 41, divided by 12 plus 1 gives me 4.4, and that is what I am marking out right here as the cap height line. And I'll go ahead and bring in my rule to connect this dot to get a straight line like this. So now that I have this line, which is the cap height line, yeah, I'll go ahead and mark out the length I want for this sleeve. Now, normally for a shorthand sleeve for shirt, it is 9 inches. That is for a standard shorthand sleeve for shirt. But for me, I want the sleeve to stop at my elbow, on my elbow. So I'm marking out 12 inches because that is how long I want the sleeve to be, just around my elbow. And I'll connect this dot to get a straight line like this. So now that I have this, the next step is to divide the round bust measurement you're working with by 6 plus 1.5 inches, and whatever you get, you mark it out on your cap height line. So since I worked with 41 as the round bust measurement, 41 divided by 6 plus 1.5 gives me 8.3, and I'll go ahead and mark out 8.3 on this cap height line here. And on the sleeve length, measure around your bicep, and whatever you get, divide it by 2. So wherever you want the sleeve to stop, measure around that spot, and whatever you get, you divide it by 2. If it's a long sleeve, measure around your wrist and divide whatever you get by 2. So I measured around my bicep, and what I have is 13. 13 divided by 2 gives me 6.5, which I've marked out. But then while connecting, I just decided that okay, I want this shirt to be very free around my bicep, you get. So I am adding half an inch. That is, I just made use of 14 inches. So 14 divided by 2 gives me 7. So that's what I marked out on the sleeve length. And I'll connect this to the cap height line like this. Now, after connecting, the next thing is you would want to just bring in your rule and, connect what you have on your cap height line to this point of your starting line. And after doing that, you get the midpoint. So you go ahead and fold over your tape and get the midpoint and mark it out. So I've done drafting of sleeves several times, so this should not be something new. So you go up by half an inch. Sorry for that. So you go up by half an inch and you bring in your curve rule to, draw out a curve like this. So by now you should know how to draft out a sleeve, because I've done this several times on my videos. I've used different methods on all my videos, so there should be no excuse. Just find the method that works best for you and that is way easier for you, and use it for drafting your sleeves. So I'll go ahead and cut this out like this, and here is it. I have my sleeve for this pattern, so I'll be leaving 1 or 2 inch at the hem. Yes. And then for the side here, I'll be leaving 1 inch, and at this sleeve cap I'll be leaving half an inch. And I'll use this pattern to cut out 2 of the sleeves, and the fabric will be on fold. So as you can see, I've cut out 2 of this, and you can see I left half an inch here, 1 inch here, and 2 inch at the hem here. So if you make sure you notch where your hemming stops or starts, so it's easier for you. So you can go ahead and fold it over like this and run a stitch, or make use of an hemming gum. Yes. So you can, if you want to make use of an hemming gum, leave 2 inches at the hem. If you want to make use of the normal stitch, the normal hemming, just leave 1 inch at the hem. So make sure you notch this midpoint of your sleeve, so it will be way easier for you to know where the middle of the sleeve, the center of your sleeve is. So I've lifted off the pattern, and as you can see, I've indicated the wrong sides of the sleeve. So for me, I want to make use of the hemming gum. That's why I left 2 inches at the hem. So I'll fold in the 2 inches like this, and then go ahead and fold in half an inch while the hemming gum is in between, and then an iron. Yeah. So after doing that, after hemming with the hemming gum or with your stitches, you go ahead and bring in the shirt. So as you can see, this shirt, I have joined the shoulders, I have hemmed it down, I have closed the sides. So right now, to place the sleeve on your shirt, you go ahead and make sure the right sides are facing each other like this, and then the parts you notched on your sleeve, which is the midpoint, should lie on the shoulder. Yes, that is that part you stitched on your shoulder, that part you used to close your shoulders. Yeah. Then you go ahead and close up the sides, and close up the side of your sleeve and your shirt using half an inch like this. So I'll do that and come back and show you. So as you can see, I've attached the sleeves. Yeah. And then I went ahead to close up the side of the sleeve. So this is how I did it. So just take a look at it. So you can see this I run a stitch through it like this. So this is it. This is what we have here, and you can see while using hemming gum, you can see that there is no stitch on the right side of the sleeve. So that's just the advantage of using hemming gum. So next is to go ahead and sew in your collar. So I've done a very detailed tutorial on how to sew in your collar. So but make sure you make use of an S stay for your collar, not a gum stay. Make sure you make use of an S stay. So go ahead and watch the video and attach your collar and draft your collar and sew in your collar. Yes, this video, there is no sewing in of collar on this video. Yes, rather it's only how to make your buttonholes that I made for this video, because I've done a very exclusive detailed tutorial on how to draft and sew your collars. So for the buttons, you can just make the buttons to be 2 inches between each other. Just mark 2 inches or 3 inches. Person is very busty, make use of 3 inches. If the person is not that busty, you can make use of 4 inches, but I think 4 or 5 inches is okay. But for a very busty person, make use of 3 or 2 inches. Now for sewing a buttonhole, yes, for sewing a buttonhole, you can see I had to bring in this green shirt because the black, I don't think you can be able to see it. So for this green, I just have to bring in the green to use to show you how to sew a buttonhole. So you can either mark out where your buttons are like this, or you go ahead and mark out the same gaps, the same inches you left for each buttons. Yes, so you indicate it, and after indicating it, the next step is to go ahead and find out how wide your button is. Yes, it's very important. So for this button, you can see this button is about half an inch long, or should I say wide. So meaning I'll just be marking 0.75. yes, so the 0.25 inch is enough ease for the buttons to pass through the buttonhole. I hope you understand. So you go ahead and mark it out like this. You can make use of 0.75 as the buttonhole space, or 1 inch depending on how big your button is, and then you go ahead and run 10 or 12 stitches like this. You get, so this is like 12 stitches. Then you run 1 2, are you seeing it? Then you turn it over again like this and run about 10 or 12 stitches like this. Then you go ahead and turn it over again and mark 1 2, run 2 stitches, and then you turn again and still run the same stitch on that previous stitch. Yes, so that is how you sew your button. So you keep repeating this process till you have done this about 4 or 5 times. I think 5 times is okay. Yes, 4 or 5 times is okay. It's okay. So you keep running the same stitch over on top of each stitch. Yes, on top of each stitch, you keep doing that. So that's what I am doing right now. So you run about 10 or 12 stitches, and then you turn, you run 2 stitch, you turn, you run another 12 or 10 stitch like this. You turn and you run 2 stitches, and you do repeat the same process about 4 times. So each stitch should be on top of the previous stitch. So that's just it, guys. That's just it. So you can see this buttonhole is ready. You can see the front, and this is the back. So that is how you stitch for your buttonholes. Yes, so you can go ahead and just cut off any rough part. So you can just use your scissors to create a small opening, but don't just use your scissors, your razor blade fully. Yes, I prefer to use the scissors because it gives a more neater look, a more neater finishing. So just use your razor blade to create a small opening, and then put your scissors through it, and then cut it open like this. So at this point, you can see the buttonhole is ready. Yeah. So I would create a second buttonhole again, and this time around I'm going to zoom this. So yeah, I hope you can see this. So we're going to run a stitch now. So I'll go ahead and put in the thread through my needle like this. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and run a stitch from this line, yeah, about 10 or 12, and I'll turn, run 1 2, turn again, run about 12 stitch like this, 10 or 12 stitches, then run 1 2, continue again on top of that previous stitch. I'll still continue to run a stitch on that same previous stitch on top of it, and I'll turn again, 1 2, and I'll turn again and still do it again, 10 or 12 stitches, and then I'll still turn it again and do 1 2, and I'll still turn again. So I'll just keep repeating this till I've done this about 4 or 5 times. 1 2, and I'll still turn it again and run another stitch on top of the previous stitches, and I'll still turn again, 1 2, and I'll still turn again, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 10 11 12 and I'll still turn again, 1 2, and I'll still turn again and still repeat the same thing. Yeah, so that is it. You can see the buttonhole is ready. So this is it. Yeah, you can see the back, you can see how neat it's looking. I'll bring in my scissors and cut open the space like this, and then I'll just go ahead and cut it open like this, and the buttonhole is ready. So you can see the buttons I've put them inside the buttonhole, and that is how to sew your buttonhole. Yeah, so this is the basic shirt now, using the basic shirt pattern. So this is it, and I just added a little bit of sequence to the shirt just to create a little form of design. And if you enjoyed this video, and if this video was helpful to you, please do well to hit the subscribe button. That is just your own way of giving me some form of support. And also don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. So see you on my next video. I love you guys. Bye. Mwah.